Howdy. A few people have been enjoying my true stories back in the day in Sydney and Melbourne and around music and other things. And quite a number have said, yeah, you got to do some more of that stuff. And then they go, we like it. And so I'm going to continue with this story. When Compulsion had split up in '69, we went on to form the first version of Hamul, and that was Max Wolfgram, Paul Blakeney playing drums, myself, Jack, and we did a couple of gigs in Melbourne, and then we picked up management from a businessman, Paddy Mullins, and another guy, Bob Parker. So they put money into the band and bought all this gear for us, and a big Dodge Fargo van and all kinds of stuff. And we thought that we'd do better up in Sydney. And so we packed the van and other things, and we took off and ended up in Sydney, where they rented us a house on the edge of Darlinghurst, I think it was. Either Park Lane or Park Place. I get confused because Michael Browning's place in Melbourne was a similar name. Anyway, it was a 3-story house. I was in a top attic, and Jack and Gay were in the other attic. And it escapes me how this happened, but we were summoned to have a meeting with Mrs. Whitty, who ran Adam's Apple in Darlinghurst and Whitty's Wine Bar. And it was a 2-story, I think, from memory, venue. And of course, the venue that we were to play in, or we were looking to play in, was on the top floor, with half of it outside, outdoor, with a massive glass panels all the way around the edge, of course, so people couldn't fall off, etc. Anyway, we met Mrs. Whitty. She was lovely. She was like a mother, like an older woman, like a bit of a mum. And in our first meeting, she took a liking to us and hired us to be the resident band at Adam's Apple, which was an amazing place. One way in, one way out, and that was a lift that was only allowed to house 8 people. So we got the gig. It was reasonable money for memory. And on our first night, of course, we loaded all the gear into the lift, and several trips up and down, and we set up, and they opened the doors, and within a very short period of time, the venue was packed. And so off to the side of the stage was a band room, and the front of the stage I had my 2 large PA pillars, bins, off to the left, off to the right. At that stage, I think Doug Thomas may have been playing drums with us, I'm not sure. Anyway, just before we started the first set, a couple of unusual characters approached us to the band room, came into the band room, which had a big curtain scrolled across the door, and said, "Hey guys, you want to try some of this?" And we didn't know what the hell it was, but when you're young, you just go, yeah. You don't go, what is it? Is it 80% this and 20% that? Or, has it been checked by the pharmacists and the professionals? No, you just kind of go, well, yeah, okay. So, for memory, it was some heavy-duty stuff that we inhaled, and then off they went. Now, in the process, somehow, there was a young girl who'd made it off the floor and into the band room, and she must have inhaled some also. So, it didn't take too long for this to kick in. So we started our first song. Halfway through the first song, people on the dance floor, jam-packed. The girl that was in the band room was now calling out and hanging off the band room curtain. And so I turned around and saw her, and Mike saw her, Mike Wilson, and Mike Wilson was sort of trying to get her to stay back in the room because we'd get busted. Anyway, that was a major effort. That was just crazy. So the band, we just played louder to block out her yelling and screaming. Meanwhile, we're in the middle of the second song, and I swear to this day, it was a hallucination, a major one, that I saw Mike walk over and put his foot up, his leg up, and push my right-hand PA speaker off the stage and onto the floor. And I thought, what the hell's he doing? So I turned around with lots of abuse. Yeah, right. And so then Mike's yelling back at me, still playing as Rickenbacker, and the band's still playing. Nothing stopped. And Mike's yelling back at me, in the middle of the song. Meanwhile, the girl, the phantom girl, still swinging off the curtain. Mike gets furious with me, takes his guitar off, throws it on the ground, on the floor of the stage, and it starts feeding back, through his Marshall amp and everything, and storms off into the band room. And so now we've got drums, bass, and Max playing piano. So Mike comes back a few minutes later, and with his wrist, blood dripping out of his wrist, and he's got so frustrated, he put his fist through the louver windows in the band room, and now he's bleeding from the wrist. So while this is happening, over the other side of the stage, you've got Max Wolfgram playing the Hofner or Hohner piano, and Jack playing bass. Gay is on the dance floor with Trish, I think it was, and somebody went over, some guy went over, and started to chat them up. Not only chat them up, add a little bit of physicality to it. So Gay socked this guy in the jaw. Max saw it from the stage, called out to Jack. Max leapt off the stage like Superman into the crowd, as did Jack, all about 8 stone of him, into the crowd, and they went after this guy and dropped him. Meanwhile, the drums are still playing, and I'm still singing. There's no guitar, no bass, no piano. So they dropped this guy somewhere out in the crowd, and then out of the blue, the lift was got jammed with something like 10 to 15 people in it, and it was jammed between floors. It was chaos. There were 2 guys sitting beside the dance floor with their backs to the wall with syringes shooting themselves up while I'm singing and the drummer's still playing. And then some guy attempted to jump off the building out in the open air part of the venue, and a couple of people managed to save him. Well, that was our first, or part of our first set of a residency at Adam's Apple. We played 2 songs. The place was packed dancing. The punters were wondering what the hell was happening. The band stopped, and we were sat from Adam's Apple on the spot. No more Mrs. Whitty, no more Hamul residency, no more work for Hamul. I can't remember the rest, but we must have taken our gear down somehow. I think we went in the next day and packed it all out. What an experience. 1969 in Sydney. There's another true story. Talk about chaotic. See ya, Evan Silver.